Where's the dog?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
He's just a dog.
I don't know what dog you're talking about. Ugly dog in a cave.
What did you say?
Captain Forrest here. It's been a while, hasn't it, folks? Well, as you can see...
Hey! Quit messing around!
I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
But anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about our favourite superhero, Superman. From the DCU, of course, the recent movie that came out not too long ago. He actually has some pretty decent scaling in the film. I'm going to go over it in this video. Now, of course, you're probably wondering, will I continue to make videos on other characters and verses? Yes and no. Well, maybe. Well, that's the thing. I'm very busy nowadays, so I don't really have much time to make content like I used to, you know, back in the day. So a lot of my responsibilities and a lot of my time is dedicated to my actual, you know, IRL job. But regardless, I will be pumping out content from, you know, from the random occasion, from here on out. And of course, I have my death battle prediction videos, which I will continue to do. But anyway, let's dive right in. Talk about Man of Steel himself, Big Blue, Superman. So, starting off with his attack potency, in order to understand where Superman would range, we have to talk about a few things. Now, there was a feat performed by Metamorpho where he was able to create a star in the palm of his hand. Now, the energy required to perform such a feat clocks in around large country level. This feat is impressive given the fact that Superman, while heavily weakened by the effects of kryptonite, was able to absorb this level of energy in order to re-energize himself. So this is a pretty decent low end for him. Now, of course, there are some other low ends that, you know, low end feats that do occur in the film, you know, large building level, city block. But of course, we all like better scaling than that, of course. So we're going to keep climbing up higher on that AP ladder, of course. Now, we can easily get Superman higher than this with some upscaling. Now, it's pretty much established that Superman is the strongest metahuman. He would scale above the likes of Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific, as well as the Green Lantern that performed the feat in the Blue Beetle movie, where he redirected the Blue Beetle scarab into a planet, causing it to explode. This feat was calced around the large planetary to brown dwarf level. Again, very impressive for this Superman, of course. And the statement really helps and solidifies this version of Superman and his scaling. So that's going to wrap up AP. I'm going to talk about speed. Now, for the speed portion, there is a lot of context and there's a lot of things I must explain in order to get an understanding on where we would be able to place Superman in speed. So for lower end feats, we have a feat of Superman being able to fly from Metropolis to Smallville, and a feat of Superman flying to the moon. Now, these casual feats were calced around the massively hypersonic plus ranges, so extremely casual feats for Superman. And of course, we have Superman being able to perform better feats later on in the movie, where he uses his super breath to escape being sucked into a black hole. Now, this would only put Superman in the relativistic ranges of speed, as Superman unfortunately did not cross the event of the horizon of the black hole, which is what is required in order to achieve higher speeds around the FTL, like requirements of speeds. So unfortunately, this only clocks Superman lower than that, so around the relativistic ranges at least. Now, this feat is still impressive nonetheless, considering the fact that Superman performed this feat when he wasn't operating at full power. There is also a feat from Supergirl, who likes to travel to different planets that are harboring around red suns in order to get drunk at parties. Now, despite being nerfed by the red sun and intoxicated, she is able to travel from those planets to the Earth within a couple hours. This would at least place Supergirl in the MFTL to the MFTL plus ranges. Now, just due to how big the distance is from these planets, especially with the sun, and if you go off like, you know, just general our observable universe, and how if we just lowball and go off like the red sun, in our actual universe, and the distance required to even reach Earth from such a far distance would require like FTL forms of speed. So again, this feat in question would range around the FTL ranges, or MFTL or MFTL plus. Going off versus Battle Wiki and just the scientific, logical analysis of how, speed works and how fast you'd have to travel to different planets in order to reach a location and within such a short amount of time, that would require light speed travel. So it's pretty plausible to have Supergirl in those ranges, or at the very least like FTL plus. It's pretty set in stone that Superman would scale to this. Now let's move on, finally talk about hacks and resistances. Now, we were previously talking about the black hole, so I guess we'll bring it up again. Now, Mr. Terrific states to Lois that if they were to set foot inside the pocket dimension, they would get ripped to shreds. Superman himself, while he was submerged in a sea of antiprotons, he was completely unaffected by these antiprotons, which in other words are a form of antimatter, which is a compound similar to what nuclear bombs use. This at the very least would give Superman resistance to subatomic destruction. Being a Kryptonian, Superman is granted many gifts such as superhuman strength, durability, flight, fast reflexes, super breath to freeze enemies, a small healing factor, heat vision to vaporize targets, and X-ray vision to see through objects. And as long as Superman has air in his lungs, he can hold his breath for an hour. When exposed to yellow sunlight, it greatly increases his power and rapidly heals any damage his body sustains. So that's going to pretty much wrap up Superman. Easily in terms of AP, so you've got low end feats, anywhere from small building, large building, you have city block stuff, mountain level even potentially, if you want to look through some calcs. But if we're going for like some other like really good juicy scaling, there's some large country stuff. You have some large planetary, brown dwarf level, some really good stuff. I heard some small star level stuff for Superman, or star level scaling, but it just depends on what calcs you go off and what is considered acceptable. But Superman is definitely in those planetary ranges if you want to, kick it up a notch. Now, as for speed, easily some casual, massively hypersonic plus scaling. And of course, if you want to use some other things, there's the relativistic speed scaling, and there is some FTL plus, MFTL scaling as well, MFTL plus scaling if you use Supergirl's speed feats. But anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap up Superman. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a long time. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. I do have some more videos I plan to eventually upload, in the very near future. Just don't know when. But anyway, it's been real. I'll see you folks on the next one. Peace.